Shut up, Smarks. Ring Ross Redux. No, I won't tap out. I won't tap out. All of you bastards suck. Just stop watching Raw. Stop watching Raw. NXT TakeOver Chicago, broadcasting live on the WWE Network from the Allstate Arena in Rosemount, Illinois. Shouldn't it be Chicago, Illinois? What about Sherman, Illinois? Anyway, normally what I do is the week before, I'll do a pre-preview for TakeOver because I don't really like doing two shows in one, but it's all I can really do about it, so I forgot to do it last week, so here we are. Roderick Strong will be taking on Eric Young in presumably either the opening match or on the pre-show. They don't really specify whether or not it's on the pre-show, so match featuring either of these two guys usually is a fairly good match, so together I can only imagine it's going to be fairly gooder. So my prediction for this match is going to be as hard as Eric Young is going to be fighting, I'm going to predict that only the strong survives. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. But oh well, what can you do? Next we have Tyler Bate defending his United Kingdom Championship against Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight. I liked watching the UK tournament. It was an enjoyable show, and it was a nice cross-section of wrestlers, wrestling styles from Britain, and it's not really specifically British wrestling, but just wrestling that was done by British people. So a lot of it was the same wrestling you see here, and a lot of it is independent wrestling that's just done slightly differently in Britain. So yeah, that's where we get people like Jack Gallagher and well, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne and Wolfgang and all these fellas. Enjoyable watching the whole thing. I had a couple of favorites. These two were, I think, among my favorites to, well, I mean, obviously they all got contracts. So, you know, anytime WWE does something for the first time, everybody that does it for the first time gets hired. Diva Search, everyone got hired. The Cruiserweight Classic, everyone got hired for 205 Live. They're like one by one slowly debuting, but they're not all debuting at once, so we'll see how that turns out, if all of them end up debuting. And some of them are going to NXT, and some of them are staying with 205 Live, and whatever, wherever you get the appropriate experience, I guess. So, I'm looking forward to seeing this match when I do eventually see the show, whenever it is. I don't think I'll be seeing it live, unless, of course, one of you wanted to have me over, because I don't have the network, because all I was watching was NXT and the pay-per-views. I wasn't taking advantage of the archive, and the thing is, I can watch NXT and pay-per-views just by waiting a day or so for free by downloading from somewhere. I'd prefer to do it 100% legal, but then again, I'd also prefer to have full access without having to change where my computer says I currently am, because I'm currently in Canada, and I had to change a setting in my computer to make it look like I'm from the United States or literally anywhere else other than Canada, so I could actually get full access to the network. I prefer not to do that kind of stuff, but c'est la vie. And I did it for a little while, a couple of months, 3 or 4 months, I think. And I was more than happy to pay for it. I was more than happy to pay what they were asking for the product that I was getting. I just wasn't taking full advantage of the product, so now I don't have the product anymore, and every time a pay-per-view comes up, I ask on Facebook and Twitter, anyone local to me watching the pay-per-view tonight, and I get no responses, and then I see all these people talking about it during the event. So I gotta reconsider who's on my friends list, I guess. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. So back to NXT TakeOver Chicago this weekend on the WWE Network. The NXT Tag Team Championships are on the line in a ladder match, which sees Authors of Pain defending their titles against DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. Now, the reports I'm hearing is that Tommaso Ciampa actually has injured his leg, so there seems to be a pretty good chance either the match itself is not going to go ahead, or at the very least it isn't going to go ahead as it stands. So they could go the Pitbulls route from ECW and have Johnny Gargano go after the titles by himself. They could make it a singles match, pick Akam or Razar. They could get someone to take Tommaso Ciampa's place temporarily. I'm sure there's a number of people on the roster right now who could fit in there, and then maybe just make some kind of arrangements. If they win the titles, then whoever takes Tommaso Ciampa's place can get himself a tag team partner, and then they can challenge for the titles. They get the first shots. I don't know. Any number of possibilities, but I'm guessing they're just gonna flat out scrap the match, or it's just gonna be like a 2-on-1 for 5 or so minutes. The Authors of Pain are just going to take their time and just work over Johnny Gargano while Tommaso Ciampa limps to the ring and tries to help, and then he's held back by one of the Authors of Pain while the other one squashes his partner and pins him. So I assume that seems like it's probably the most logical thing that would probably happen. So that's just kind of how wrestling goes. That's kind of how sports goes, I guess, really. Not just wrestling. If one of your teammates gets injured, that teammate can't participate anymore. So, unless it's an injury they can work through, which wrestlers are more prone to do than pretty much any other sport. So, I just don't see Tommaso Ciampa being able to get over that pain. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV.
For me, you shouldn't have.
Wait for it. Oops.
Stay away from me, ground.
Asuka defending her NXT Women's Championship against Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross in a triple threat match that originally was a four-way, but Ember Moon got injured, so she can't take part anymore. So I'm guessing one of two things is going to happen. Either Asuka is just straight up going to defend her title. I mean, it'll be a hard-fought match, I'm sure, with fists and feet and everything flying all over the place, and probably a few headbutts as well. And certainly at least one set of buttocks will be flying towards an opponent, as that's one of Asuka's signature moves. Either that, or the aforementioned Ember Moon is going to come out and cost Asuka the title for either Ruby Riott or Nikki Cross. And then, I don't know what will happen from there. Well, there'll be a rematch, I'm sure, at either on the next episode of NXT or at the next takeover. Probably make more sense to do it at the next takeover, but anyway. Although it seems that's a realistic possibility, but I just kind of foresee Asuka's just going to defend her title for the time being. She may divide and conquer. She may just let the other two wrestle each other. She's been twirling her handlebar mustache a little bit more lately in her classic Snidely Whiplash behavior. So I think it's just going to be a successful title reign, at least for now. Successful title defense. Fingers crossed, my secret girlfriend holds on to her title. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV. So cluing up, the NXT TakeOver Chicago pre-preview from the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois. We see the NXT Championship being on the line, with Bobby Roode defending against Hideo Itami. I don't know, just said it louder. Maybe that's how the Japanese pronounce things. They just make it louder. And anyway, so I don't know. Sure, it's possible. Ending's possible. Like even Roderick Strong is possible to win the title in the next coming months, the way they're doing those video packages. But, you know, we'll see how it works out, and although for the time being I do still predict it's going to be a successful title. So basically all the titles are going to get defended as far as I'm concerned. As far as my predictions are concerned, all the titles are defended. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with any of them changing hands. The UK title maybe, because Tyler Bate has really only defended it once since he's won it. Not really his fault, but it just seems that he's only defended it once, and losing it the second time he defends it is sort of sad, I guess. So yeah, I can see the tag titles maybe, if Tommaso Ciampa isn't as hurt as we thought he was, or he makes them think he's hurt until like the last minute of the match, and then he's he takes off the cast or whatever it is that he's got on his leg and says, well, I'm not hurt at all, and then goes and nails his finisher on whichever of the members of Authors of Pain are currently stunned. And the women's title could change hands. I don't know, any number of these titles could change hands. The title I'd like to see change hands maybe is the which WWE brand pay-per-view has more theme songs. Right now NXT, this NXT pay-per-view has 2, and Backlash has 1. The last takeover also had more theme songs than the pay-per-view that it was on the same weekend of, and that pay-per-view was WrestleMania. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe Triple H is just a big music fan, or maybe people are saying, oh yeah, we want you to use our song as one of your theme songs for NXT. It's like, well, what about WWE? We got this pay-per-view coming up. No, just do it for NXT, if you don't mind. Well, we kind of do, but we'll just do it for NXT, okay? Because, anyway. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV. Presents Macho Facts. Randy Savage uses ribbed condoms inside out, so he gets all the pleasure. And the Macho Man's tears cure cancer. Too bad he never cries. Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni, and subscribe to Jobronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni. So next up, we're going straight into WWE Backlash, which is also from the Allstate Arena in the Chicago suburb of Rosemont, Illinois. So I guess that's why it's in a suburb. So it's in the burbs. No real particular order, just whatever order I decide to talk about them in. So we got Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan in a match that's happening probably while you're in the bathroom. And for the sake of it, I'm just going to say Luke Harper's going to win because that's what the coin said when I flipped it. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV. And Ty Dillinger will be taking on Aiden English actually in the pre-show. Now, mind you, that former Wyatt family members match may also be on the pre-show, or maybe on the pre-show instead. Who knows? Whatever they're going to do with it. But anyway, it's Ty Dillinger and it's Aiden English. Ty Dillinger, who recently had a really big debut on SmackDown, and Aiden English, who's a drama king and recently lost his tag team partner. But he himself is still there, I guess because he started singing and somebody said, yeah, we like that, so you can keep your job. And it's like, phew, that was a close one. And yeah, I just predict that Ty Dillinger's probably going to win. It just seems Ty Dillinger's likely to win that match. I could be mistaken. Maybe they're going to give Aiden English a push towards some title. Who knows? Maybe. I don't think so, though. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV. With all the references. So we have the U.S. title, Kevin Owens defending against AJ Styles. I don't really think I need to do anything to hype that match because it's Kevin Owens and it's AJ Styles. I don't remember seeing a bad match from either of those gentlemen, even when they had bad opponents. And I don't remember that many bad opponents really for either guy either, so it's going to be quite the toss-up, but I do think Kevin Owens will probably edge out a win somehow. Not somehow, I guess, but, you know, he's Kevin Owens. He doesn't edge out a win somehow. He wins. He does what he does to win, and then he wins. So, anyway, that's how I call it. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And you know how I like naming tag teams? The Welcoming Committee is a name that's already there. So, it's the Welcoming Committee, which is a team of Tamina and Blondella, which is Natalia and Carmella. Because, see, they both end in A, and they're both blonde, and things. So, and they're taking on Flow Easy, which is Naomi, and Women's Takeover, which is Charlotte and Becky Lynch, because the two of them are, like, wrestled really good matches on past takeovers in NXT, because they're both from NXT, so why not? And I do anticipate that Flow Easy is going to get in there and just take him out, take him on, knock him down, smack him around, I don't know. It could go either way. So, I'm just gonna, another coin flip, I guess, and just say that Flow Easy's gonna win it. Now, why did I call them Flow Easy, I wonder?
Hey, what's up? This is referee Tony S., and you're listening to Ring Rust on CHMR.
When I was a kid, if someone brandished a shrink gun, he'd get a little bit of respect.
Gene.
Ha ha ha! Cookies on dolls.
You're listening to Wrestling Superstar, the Triple X Sex Express Sexy Eddie, and you're listening to Ring Rust, the one and only wrestling talk radio show.
On the road to recovery, I got a flat tire. Next up, for WWE Backlash on the WWE Network, we got, well, again, this isn't in any particular order, just whatever order I choose to talk about them in, and then just reference who I think is going to win. So it's SmackDown Tag Team titles on the line, which sees Jimmy and Jay Uso defending against Breezango, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, as the Fashion Police. As entertaining as they are, I don't think they're going to be defeating the Usos anytime soon. So, I don't really think you even need to talk. I mean, it's going to be an enjoyable match, if nothing else, just to watch the shenanigans that Breezango get up to during the match. And then watching Jimmy and Jay Uso trying not to laugh their asses off and act all serious and say, "What are you doing? Stop doing that, you fool. We're trying to have a wrestling match here." And then meanwhile, after the match, they go backstage and they probably wouldn't be able to stop laughing. Because that's real life. You know, wrestlers don't, usually, I'll qualify that, usually, wrestlers don't actually hate each other. Usually they're at least cordial towards each other, and in a lot of cases they're actually pretty good friends. So, not to burst your bubble or anything, in case you were under the impression that wrestling is real, it's real to a degree because they suffer real injuries. You know, when they accidentally fall on their head, or when they blow out their quad, or when they, you know, land a certain way and their shoulder goes one way and their body goes another, that's a real injury. That really hurts, and they need to take real time off to let that really heal. So, pretty much a foregone conclusion, as is the main event. I'm not going to be talking about that just yet, though. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. But right now, I'll be talking about a match that probably isn't a foregone conclusion, though I guess it probably is. A lot of people would probably think it's a foregone conclusion, but it could probably go either way. Dolph Ziggler taking on the artist, Giggle Giggle, Shinsuke Nakamura, because apparently, now that he's up on the main roster, they don't know what to do with him. What's strong style? What are you talking about? We're going to give him more exposure because he's popular? No, that's not how the wrestling business works. Actually, boss, yes it is how the wrestling business works, because we can sell more t-shirts and merchandise. And shut up! What are you doing here? Who are you? I'm your assistant, sir. You hired me actually 2 years ago, and you haven't got my name right yet. Channeling a little bit of Supergirl there. Yeah, it seems like It could really go either way, but I think it's more likely Shinsuke Nakamura is going to end up winning that match. That's what my prediction would be anyway, so that's what I'm predicting. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jobronology TV. Baron Corbin versus Sami Zayn, punch, kick, Baron Corbin wins. There's a possibility Sami Zayn could win. I'm not anyway. I don't really, so.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni. And subscribe to Jarbronology TV, youtube.com/fanboymarkjabroni.
And finally, Randy Orton defending his WWE Championship against Jinder Mahal, which, to WWE's credit, looks like it could be an actual honest-to-God battle. He could actually, theoretically, not likely, but theoretically, could actually win. I don't see it happening that way, but I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest, actually, if it did happen exactly that way. But, I'm just going to say Randy Orton defends his title for the time being. So no title changes, only 2 titles on the line, but not going to be overly disappointed. I'd be flabbergasted if Breezango win the tag titles, but that's beside the point. So I wouldn't be completely surprised. I'd be somewhat surprised. I'd be pleasantly surprised. Like, oh, look, they did it. They made Jinder Mahal the world champion. So,
That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.